Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Guys, are y'all ready for this sweater weather? I feel like the moment my mornings get a little bit chilly, I am ready for a cozy soup. Guys, I'm going to show you how to make an absolutely delicious chicken and rice soup. I'm going to do a southern style and you all are going to love it. Now, y'all, I have washed some carrots and some celery, and here I have 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I prefer to use chicken thighs for this recipe because they're going to pull apart well and they're going to stay very tender. You can use chicken breast if you want. You just have to make sure that you don't overcook it. Now, guys, I am going to be using a lot of seasonings here, some onion powder, garlic powder, chicken bouillon, Cajun seasoning. Now this Chickalika Bam Lamb is basically a salt-free Cajun seasoning. I also have some thyme, a sazon packet, and some pepper. Now while in no way am I fat phobic, because y'all baby, I likes the fat for the flavor, okay? I am going to be putting butter and olive oil in the soup, so I don't feel like I need the extra fat from the chicken. If you were using bone-in, skin-on chicken, I would encourage you to remove the skin from half the chicken, and that should balance it out. Now, I'm going to mix all my seasonings together. Now, girl, y'all, I'm going to go in there, and I'm just going to season to my heart's content, but I will be giving you all some measurements in the description box. Now, this may look like a lot, because it kind of is a lot. But remember, we are going to be seasoning a whole pot of soup. So if you use a little amount that only seasons the chicken and not the broth, then your soup is going to be bland, okay? So I'm going to coat my chicken with all of the seasonings. It is going to look heavily seasoned, but that heavy seasoning is going to help a crust develop on the chicken. I'm going to set that aside to marinate for a bit while I chop up the carrots. I'm going to take off the ends and then I'm going to start cutting some circles, and I will cut the thick part of the carrot in half and then just make pieces that are about 1/4 of an inch thick. For my celery, I'm going to cut my celery stick in half, and then I'm going to cut 1/4 of an inch thickness pieces as well. And I'm going to dice a whole entire onion. I like to do a medium small dice for a soup. Nothing too big because I don't want those large pieces just floating around in my soup. Now, y'all, you know when you get to that garlic, that's when you can take all your aggression out on that garlic. Get a bottle, smash them garlic cloves, and that's the easiest way to take off the garlic skin and give those a nice rough chop. In my Dutch oven, I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of butter with a little bit of olive oil. Once that gets melted, I'm going to put in all of my chicken thighs. Now, technically, I could be doing this in 2 batches, but I ain't gonna do that, okay? You know what you're supposed to do, and you know what you're gonna do today, okay? So I'm not gonna do that today. I am going to let the chicken cook on one side for about 3 to 4 minutes until it gets a good color, and then on the other side for about 3 minutes as well. You don't need to thoroughly cook the chicken because remember, it's going to end up boiling. But you do want that fond that's at the bottom. That is the spices being toasted. You need that for depth of flavor in your soup. Now I'm going to add in all of my vegetables, and you're going to see me use my spoon to actively scrape the fond off of the bottom of the pot. The reason for that is because you don't want the fond to burn, but you still want it to add flavor. So I sauteed those vegetables for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I added in 1.5 tablespoons of flour. That's going to add some body to the broth. You want to let that toast with the vegetables for another 2 to 3 minutes. Then I am going to put in 8 cups of chicken broth. This chicken broth has no sodium. I used about 1 cup of the chicken broth to rinse out the marination bowl. Then I'm going to add in a big old bay leaf, and y'all know I have some fresh herbs, okay? Fresh herbs from my garden, some rosemary, some oregano, sage, a little bit of thyme. That's going to freshen up the pot. I cover this and I let this simmer on low for 20 minutes. This chicken should now pretty much be mostly pull apart, but not to the point where it's completely going to disintegrate. I want a little bite to the chicken, okay? You can put in anywhere from 3/4 of a cup to a cup and a half of rice, depending on how thick you want your soup to be and how much you need to make this stretch. I prefer to put in 3/4 of a cup of rice because I like my soup to stay loose. If you want yours to be thick and hearty, go for that cup and a half. All right. Now I'm going to shred my chicken and then I am going to stir my rice. I don't want the rice to stick to the bottom. And I'm going to uncover it slightly. After about 20 minutes, you should see that your rice is mostly cooked. Then I'm going to add back in my chicken. I'm going to stir it and you're going to see that it has a good thickness, but I want to adjust the flavors. So I'm going to add a little bit of Better Than Bouillon chicken base paste. It tastes different than the Maggi to me, so I like to add both, and I'm going to add a pinch more salt. Allow this to simmer together for about 5 minutes and then put in a touch of heavy cream or half and half. If you want it to be richer, use the heavy cream. I wouldn't put in more than half of a cup, okay? Now, y'all, I personally, this is optional, but I like to put in juice of half of a lemon just for a little bit of brightness. I feel like it wakes the soup up and makes it extra delicious. Now, I want you guys to let me know, what would you serve this type of soup with? Are you going to double down on the carbs and add like a piece of sourdough bread? Are you going to go light and add yourself a little bit of salad? I feel like this is the perfect soup for a cozy fall or cozy winter day. It's delicious. It's a crowd pleaser. It's affordable. Guys, let me know if you're going to make this. I'm going to see you next time in Kamira's Kitchen. Goodbye, y'all, and God bless.